when you last wore shoes, or even what day it is. If your family vacation actually feels like a vacation, or you have nothing to do and all day to do it. If the only thing on your mind is a sun hat, or the only reason you get up is to lie down somewhere else. That's l'Esprit Libre, Club Med.
So book now. So for those of you who don't know, anyone been to Club Med? Yes. We are the founder and the originator of the all-inclusive concept. So we actually launched a new campaign last year as part of our 7-year legacy to constantly reinvent ourselves. So that was a sneak peek as to us and who we are today.
I'm going to say it's a great lead into the weekend. I watched this 5 times last night. And that's also because I was with my kids. But all right, really great session planned today. I'm going to jump right in with a 2-part question for you guys. What's your approach for finding the right partners for each of your brands? Is question 1. And 2, are most of your partnerships coming inbound, or are you proactively seeking them? I'm going to start with you, Kevin.
Okay. So on the Club Med side, we obviously have brand pillars that we need to make sure that we're talking to our like-minded audience, right? We just don't want the logo attached to ours. It has to be authentic. It has to make sense with our product. So we always think of partnerships in terms of, does it fit our French heritage? Does it fit with our wellness angle, with our sustainability angle, our family angle? So we always structure it that way as the first step. And then it becomes a combination of, some of it is inbound because we have obviously an executive team in Paris that has very strong relationships. So they're talking to Lacoste, who's one of our partners. They're talking to Rossignol, who's also one of our partners. So they have a lot of the relationships that come in. And then on our side, in the US especially, we actually go out and seek partners that can fit one of those different pillars. So for wellness, we go out to wellness ambassadors to make sure that we can have them be part of the Club Med family and help to be expertise of our product. So it's a lot with families, a lot with smaller brands that we can associate with. So it's a combination of both.
Great. How about you, Stephanie?
So I'm a big Club Med fan. I've probably been to 6 or 7 of them. So everybody should go. Very similar, right? We're very family-centric as well. So when we look at partnerships, to us it's an extension of our brand. So even if somebody's coming in just to activate for a day, for 2 days, they're touching our audience. And so we want to make sure if somebody's coming in, our guests are interacting with them, that it aligns with our values. I get calls all the time from salespeople saying, oh, you can do a patch deal, you can be on this jersey, all these different opportunities. And I think this has nothing to do with our audience. This is not going to achieve any of the goals that we want to do. So how do you think that this partnership would be successful? And then they kind of get stumped a little bit, right? I think so many people are just out there like just trying to close deals and look at partnerships, but I think you have to really be strategic because this can be out in your media, this can be in social. When you get a press release, you want to be like, that's so strategic, that's so smart, what a great idea, versus how do these two things have anything to do with each other? And so I think you need to be authentic. To your point about French heritage, I mean, that's the same thing for us, right? We're families, we're thrills, we're excitement. We want to do things that innovate and can elevate our brand as well. So I think that's another piece, is how do we make ourselves stand up bigger also.
All right, we're going to move more virtual to you, Brian.
All right, so Strava, raise your hand if you know Strava. Does anybody know? Oh, that's great to see. When we think about exactly what you said, Steph, and I think everybody's already taken it, third person in, Strava's a unique platform. We are a digital community, right? So when we talk about motivation, we call ourselves a motivation machine. We're there to inspire people. Contrary to popular belief, we don't want you to be on your app scrolling through and looking at everything. Like, give your friend a kudos, look at the route, that's great. But we want to encourage people to get outdoors, to explore the world around them. And that's what we're rooted in. So when we talk about partnerships, it needs to tie back to that. We partner with Spotify. Why? Because most people listen to music when they're running. It's an experience, it's a motive. We partner with Nike. Duh, like self-explanatory, right? We partner with Brooks. Again, self-explanatory. And this is a conversation for another day, find me at Trains. But when we think about our partnership ecosystem, we have so many partnership pillars. There's community partnerships, right? So I handle social impact, Strava Metro, which I'm sure many of you have not heard about, you have heard of Strava, which is a free data platform for government entities to build better infrastructure. So all the data that's collected, we do not sell it. Shocker. We actually aggregate it, wash it, non-identifiable. It goes over to Strava Metro, so municipalities and government entities can build better infrastructure. U.S. Department of Transportation is a big partner. City of Miami is a huge partner. City of Paris, wink, wink, coming up. We know what's happening this summer, is a partner. And so when we think about that, that's another vertical. We also have creators. So you talk about influencers on the platform. Those are brands in and of itself, right? Creator economy. So we partner with them, and then traditional brands like I mentioned, Brooks, Spotify, Nike, Chipotle. We'll get to that later. But there are brands out there that are very focused, and they have a mission. We are a platform that enables you to reach into that community. And so going back to your point, we are strategic. You're not going to find, I'm going to say brands right now because I don't want to get in trouble, but you are going to find certain brands on the platform because it just doesn't make sense for an active community of athletes. And yes, an athlete is anybody who sweats, and that's how we refer to them. So if you sweat doing yoga, you're an athlete, that's fine. But when we think about it, that's how we really think about our structure and pillars as it relates to partnerships.
There's clearly an organic authenticity theme going on, and after your workout, you've got a Swoon beverage for you, right? Good segue here. Go ahead, Chelsea.
All right, well, similar to you all, I mean, we first and foremost look at what is the story. We are a female-founded brand. We're zero sugar lemonades and iced teas. What makes sense for that? Our previous partnership with Barbie, was about around female empowerment, bringing, reinvigorating the nostalgic area, which was lemonades and iced teas. And so we look at what is the story, what are our brand values aligned, and is our core consumer aligned. We hope that our brand partner will bring awareness, some cultural relevance and brand cachet to us, as well as loyalty. And that has really, been the core of, the partners that we look for. But I think, as a small brand, a lot of you probably haven't heard of Swoon before. What we bring to the table for our partners is we're in thousands of stores, meaning there's tens of thousands of touch points for retailers on a day-to-day basis. So if we partner with a brand and bring their logo onto our can, they're getting tens of thousands of impressions in retail stores on a daily basis. So the first couple of years, we were doing most of the outbound outreach to our partners, but luckily, since a few of our partnerships have brought a lot of awareness to the brand, we have a lot of inbound, luckily this year. So we have some exciting ones coming up in 2024 and beyond.
Great. Shameless plug, they're probably coming from sponsoring it. All right, the next question. How are you guys measuring your experiences beyond traditional ROI? So, dollars out versus dollars in. Obviously, that doesn't work in every scenario. I'll start with you, Stephanie.
So we look at it several ways, and it depends on the partner. So we have attendance metrics. We know how many people are going through each ride line, and dwell time is a really big piece. So often, if a brand has an experience in the parks, they don't just see it one time. They're spending over 5 hours in the park during the day. So there's some specifics like this many people showed up today, this many people went through these rides, your ads and your advertising or your activation were in these areas. But that dwell time, that they're able to see things several times throughout. And it really depends on partners. Some partners just want to tap into our 22 million guests and just wants their brand out there. They want impressions, they want signage and activations everywhere. Some partners look at sales numbers, how many Coca-Colas have, sorry, I should use a different example. How many Mars chocolate bars have you sold? Or, so it really depends on the partnership, and we try to be strategic, and you're tapping into an audience that you can't get in many places, and I think that's a really key piece. A lot of brands have rules of how they can advertise with age restrictions, and because of our makeup of parents and families all together, they're able to tap into something unique that might be challenging in other areas. So it depends on who it is, but there's a lot of different metrics of we really look at what are you trying to achieve, how are you, are you a new brand that's coming out? Because sometimes that is a big piece. They're trying to get into retail or grocery stores, and they actually will go to us and say, we're going to sample, we're going to sell some of the products in this market, can this market get strong? And then Takis actually is a good example. Before it was big in the US, they came to Six Flags and we gave them distribution across the parks. And then now they're huge and everybody knows who they are. But they used us as a platform. So that's a different metric as well, as it gained, and they'd invite people to the parks to come see how they activate it as well.
Yeah, Chelsea, I'm going to come back to you on this one.
All right, so yeah, aside from ROI, the way that we are measuring success, our first partnership was with Emma Chamberlain. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with her. She's a top influencer, and she has a brand called Chamberlain Coffee. So between her brand and herself, they have 30 million followers on YouTube and social channels. When we first launched, we were a simple syrup and mixer brand, and we had an older audience and core consumer. When we transitioned to our ready-to-drinks, we wanted to attract a younger audience. So by partnering with Emma Chamberlain and Chamberlain Coffee, we were able to bring in 30 million primarily Gen Z fans. And so that shift in sort of brand positioning and how people perceived our brand was really important to us, more so than just strictly dollars. But it did become our #1 top seller on Amazon. Similarly with Barbie, we were really hoping to build on the buzz and excitement around Barbie. We started the partnership so far in advance of the movie coming out. We had no idea what a cultural phenomenon it would become, but that was super important to us. Influencers wanted to partner with us. We had so much inbound interest to the brand because of the partnership with Barbie, that cultural relevance and brand cachet was a big metric of success for us.
That's great. We're going to take a quick peek at that in a little bit. Ryan?
Yeah, going back to the digital space. So one of the things that we look at, we have ROI as it relates to partnerships. Specifically in our business, it's challenges. We don't have ads on platforms, so you don't see a cluttered feed. A whole bunch of you scroll, and it's like all that stuff that you don't want to see. But challenges is a main revenue driver for us, as well as subscription. Like we're a subscription-based model, so that is important. But another engagement metric that we look at, we have a huge event coming up here in a couple of weeks called Camp Strava. It happens out in LA. There's 350 plus people that come. So the biggest brands from across the globe to our biggest creators. And it's all about a sentiment of how you feel. Right? We want you to walk away feeling encouraged. We want you to walk away knowing that you have impact to 125 plus million people on our platform. And so we all come together. It's like not a hackathon, but it's like conversations similar to like, how do you unlock the power of the platform to get people excited and encouraged and participate more. And what we've seen through that experience is that people walk away feeling empowered. So when you feel empowered as a brand, you spend more money with us, right? Like we want to make you feel good. We get out, we explore trails. We have this thing that's, touch grass. Go outside and touch grass, right? So it's running trails, it's cycling. You hear some great panels, but we want to curate an experience that brings people together and unites them. Because once that's felt amongst the brands, they then pour that back into the community. That pours back into our innovation. If a brand comes and says, hey, I want to explore how you build this on a platform, we will build something custom based on our product roadmap that can help further that mission. So a lot of that is woven back into the product experience, and that's what we're focused on, because we don't have any hardware, we don't have supply chain things that we're managing. It is a truly technology company forward, or a technology forward first company. So when we think about building, that's how we build on that tangibility, the ROIs. Are we shipping value to our subscription customers? Are they having a good time? Are they interacting? So we look at those metrics in terms of how we bring more of that into our ecosystem, and we want to make sure that's poured out. And so you look at your net promoter scores and things like that, community engagement. And so when we look at those numbers across our dashboard, are those increasing? A good metric is subscribers, right? Are they paying for the product? Are they feeling like the value is there?
Great. How about you, Kat?
So for us, when you have thousands of people coming to your resorts on a daily basis, you have traditional KPIs, but we also have chatter, right? You have constant feedback in person, live from the resort. You've got social, as where people are chatting about, you're looking at TripAdvisor, so you're getting all sorts of insights and all sorts of feedback on your partnerships and also from the clients and their experience on what they want. So one of the things that we did is actually we heard a lot about, we have wellness as one of our pillars. We had a lot of our clients asking for more vegan and vegetarian options. So we actually took it that way and said, okay, this is the chatter, this is what's happening in terms of what they want. So we sought out a smaller partnership with Chef Chloe. She won a Cupcake Wars many years ago. So we partnered with her to create a menu of 10 dishes that we would offer in our resorts. So what our KPIs for that was like, okay, are people talking about it? What's the feedback that we're getting? And overall, it was really successful. And we've actually just signed up for her for a second year, because if the clients are responding positively, there you go, it worked. We answered their need, we have the right partnership.
You're creating a better experience.
We're creating it.
Great. Can each of you share a recent example of a partnership that worked out well and specifically what made it successful? We're going to go to a quick video and I'll turn it over to you, Chelsea.
Just always got good Kennedy vibes.
Barbie, Swoon.
Have Kennedy impressing me.
My friend.
My bro homie.
My bro homie.
Drink.
It is. I wish
It's not alcohol.
but
Not alcohol. But
How are you? Be able to see you.
Let's go.
Barbie, Swoon, and
Oh, it's very nice of you. Thank you.
In case you didn't.
Barbie, Swoon.
Guys.
on Instagram later, Ryan got
No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Welcome to Barbie.
Sounds good day, LA.
All right, that was my answer. This was unpaid and totally organic placement, thanks to our partnership with Barbie. They asked us to provide product for the press junket, and Ryan Gosling loved it and handed it out to all of his interviews. So that was just kind of one example of how this partnership provided a lot of added value for our brand. In addition to that, there was a ton of organic engagements, almost 1 million engagements, almost 2 million in earned media value, and hundreds of organic press mentions, which is huge for a small and emerging brand like ourselves, but I think that video pretty much sums it up for us.
Brian.
Going back to the distinct partner pillars, I'm going to walk through 3 examples because each of them are different. When we look at the creator economy, a successful partnership that we did was organic, and there was a Strava athlete who gave birth and said I should have reported it on Strava. And so it's funny because we always have this saying, it didn't happen on Strava, it didn't happen. And so she decided to have fun with it and actually monitor her heart rate when she was going through labor, posted that workout onto Strava, and it went across like wildfire of like, this is a Strava die hard. People then came to the ecosystem like, I didn't know you recorded like pregnancy, giving birth on Strava. And it was just an example of when you're engaged and you build something that people love, they will use it by any means necessary. So that's one example. Another example from a Strava Metro perspective, the city of Paris. There's a big event happening this summer, and they had a problem because they're trying to figure out how people can commute from point A to point B in terms of venues without polluting and having carbon savings, right? And so they partnered with us. They just launched a group on Strava that has all of the routes that you can cycle and walk from venue to venue without getting in your car. And so they're going to run a study on that to understand the carbon savings. So more to come on that soon, but that's just another example from Strava Metro. From a brand partnership perspective, Chipotle launched this year the Vitality Bowls. There was a challenge that was presented, and if you accumulate the most miles running in front of Chipotle, then you got a free Vitality Bowl for a year. What do you think happened? People were like tagging each other in, doing relay races. It's like, if I get it for a year, I'll share with you. And so it went like wildfire because there's an innate love of just Chipotle, but it also fuels you when you're running marathons and training and doing ultra marathons and what have you. And it was also perfect because they were tagging their new Vitality Bowls, right? So it was just an awareness play. That was, again, they put a press release out there, we confirmed it, we had fun with it, and it ended up taking off like wildfire. So those are just 2 distinct examples of partnerships that I've worked really well recently.
Stephanie.
So I'll use kind of a basic one. So we created an LTO last year with Coke and Mars. And so the reason I use that is because often we have all these partners, but we don't really talk about partnering together. And so we've had them both as partners over 15 plus years, all doing their own thing within our ecosystem. And so I think there's a lot of power in the partnership of bringing 2 brands together to create something really unique. So Skittles want to think about summer and refreshing, and Coke wants to sell more beverages in the park. So we created this really fun, custom cup, limited time offer drink that we sold in the summer. We did social media, we did, in-park signage. There was a bunch of other things, and we sold thousands and thousands of drinks across the system. So I think that's one thing, is to always look at, while we're all trying to look at many partners, like who you have, who makes sense to actually work together. Because I think that really speaks to the power of the partnership and your brand. And I think that partners are also looking to do that, right? Like in the portfolio, how else can they work together with what's already there? One that we have coming up from a brand side is, so for those who have been to a Six Flags, Fright Fest is really, really big. So we do almost 30,000 people in one park in a day. The parks are jam-packed. And so we are working with a bunch of IP that will be announced soon for haunted houses. So this is an experience that So basically, there's a funeral procession, the lights are off in the park, there's fools running around scaring you to death. Even though you know they're coming, I'm still petrified every time. And so we're working with some IP that you will know out there that is still wants to be fresh, right? Like you've seen the movies, you've watched it, how do they stay fresh? How do they reach a new demographic? So we're gonna be building custom haunted houses this fall with that IP to keep that fresh. So that's gonna help us drive attendance, relevancy, still that like, wow, Six Flags, that's so cool. I need to go there for Halloween for Fright Fest. So just a brand and a partner perspective.
If you have not been to Fright Fest, you have to check it out. It is crazy. Kevin.
So, for those of you who don't know, Club Med has over 20 resorts in the mountains. So we have ski resorts, over 20 in the Alps. We have them in Japan. We have them in China. We have one in Quebec, the US coming soon, to be announced. So we have this long-lasting group of clients that want to ski. They're beginners to advanced. So with that, you have to think about, okay, what do they want in terms of the equipment? So we've actually partnered for many years with Rossignol, who again, French heritage, well known in the ski industry for having some of the best equipment. And so we work with them on supplying all new equipment every 2-3 years. It's refreshed for our clients to make sure that their experience is at the highest standard it can be, as we are the only all-inclusive operator for mountains. So
Great.
Works for both.
All of your brands are centered around this theme of togetherness, right? Strava, I think everyone's aware, but community-powered motivation that's bringing together peers and strangers, right, all in one virtual place. Six Flags, I can't tell you how many amazing experiences I personally had, even bringing my kids there last summer, but you've got memorable experiences, iconic characters, iconic thrill rides. Club Med, you're all about family experiences, all-inclusive, safe environment, stress-free. And then Swoon, I'm going to quote you directly, you're on a mission to make people happier and healthier, one drink at a time. What's the always-on approach that you guys have to just keep that mentality of togetherness? And I'll go right down the line.
Yeah, so I think a lot of life's important moments as well as more mundane moments are shared over a drink. And so we really try to celebrate that. It's something we noticed with our consumers is that our core consumer, Kaylee, who's a millennial female, loved drinking Swoon with her girlfriends, girls' nights out, bachelorette parties, on a walk. So we developed a bestie campaign around that where we're sort of just celebrating girls and their besties, and we're Swoon, we're the zero sugar beverage that loves you, that you can love, that loves you back, just like a bestie. And so we're working with bestie influencers, bestie podcast hosts, having a bestie theme around all of our out-of-home advertising. And so we're just trying to reinforce that we're that feel-good moment in your day. You can drink a ton of our drinks for zero sugar and enjoy it all the time.
So we'll start with the core of Club Med. So don't judge me, Mexico, if I get this wrong, but there's a quote that's from our founder, which is, the purpose of life is to be happy. The time to be happy is now, and the place to be happy is here. So that is the core of every single print presentation. It's the first slide. It's like who we are. So it is about connection, happiness, and making sure that our clients feel that. So when it comes to safety, which is a big one for families when they come to the resorts, you want to create that sense of everything's taken care of, you don't have to worry about anything else. And a lot of that comes with the programming. So there are two ways that we think about it, right? There's one sense that we have childcare, we have professionals that do it, we actually work with some child therapists to make sure that the activities that we offers the togetherness of the kids, because we have an international clientele, so we want the kids, whether they're American, Canadian, French, from Spain, that they feel like there's a sense of togetherness, community, and they're not lost. So and they love it. I mean, there's nothing like hearing kids sing the same song in one language told together, no matter what nationality. It's incredible. And on the other hand, we create and foster relationships with families together. So it's not only them bonding by themselves, it's families bonding together. So we have a program called the Amazing Family Program, which is all about creating connection between the kids and the parents. So it's like games that they can play together. So giant Jenga, there's water slides that they can play. There's the big snap, which is like this carnival that we set up once a week in the resort, so that to create those memories and those moments of togetherness. Because you want the best family vacation. Yeah. So the family vacation actually feels like a vacation. That's this week. It ties back to our message.
Great. Brian?
Yeah, our theme is motivate the world to move. right? It's that simple. We have over 50 activity types that you can track. And again, going back to Camp Strava, the theme this year is progress together, building for her. Because we found when you build for women, you build for everybody. So whether that's safety, whether that's activities, no matter what it is, we've seen our biggest growth within millennials, Gen Zs especially, but it's also that female cohort that's really, really strong. So a lot of our focus is, yeah, we want to all move, we want to inspire one another, but when you build for women, you build for everybody. And so a lot of our work is going to be mapping back to that over the foreseeable future.
So yeah, we're all about creating memories, right? Most people come to a theme park with friends, with family, for physics day, someone mentioned earlier today. And so there's so many times I'm in meetings and someone will say, I had my first kiss, or I went on my first date, or it was my first time I ever went on a roller coaster. And I love to hear those stories because that's bringing people together, and they remember, 20 years ago, or when my kids were young, or I had a season pass to this park and now I live in a different market. So I think it's, how do you create those experiences within the park so people have those memories together, even from like photo, right? Like you could take photos while you're on the coaster and you're screaming, you're with your friends. And so a lot of the things that you do within the theme park, you're eating together, you're riding together, is how do you create those memories? And we build that as well throughout all of our advertising and social media, like come bring everyone together, come to these events, come enjoy this. And really that you think back, 10 years, 5 years, last week, last summer, that was so much fun, we had the best time.
Great. This is a good segue to my last question. We're going to open it up for questions. We're going to talk about technology. We're going to talk about emerging technology, AI. We're going to start with you, Stephanie. We're going to watch a quick video. This is our last video.
Six Flags is helping the 20 million guests who visit their theme parks each year have even more fun with a new digital concierge in their app. All of this is made possible with Vertex AI and our foundation models trained on data pulled from the Six Flags website and multiple archives.
Well, I don't know if anyone else has kids in here, show of hands, or has been at an amusement park and not wanted to wait in lines, but being able to basically ask what doesn't have a line next to me is pretty impressive. So tell us about that.
So for those who might know Mr. Six, this is Missy Six. And so she is basically AI, right? So it's going to know how your behavior is from the website, what you're interested in. Are you looking at family rides, thrill rides? You'll be able to ask the questions, right? Like, how do I find a restaurant that has the least line? How do I find mobile ordering? How do I find things within the park retail stores? And so all of this is very, very customized based on the data of what we're doing with our desktop and then your mobile app, and then as you are walking throughout the park. So every experience will be custom and easy, and we're in, the now culture is how do I find it, how do I get to it? And so we're very excited about this partnership with Google because there's so much deep knowledge that we can get from the consumers. And we're also very mindful to not be like, we know everything that you're going to do, but how do we make it easier, right? How do we know that if you're coming often, we can track and customize? So there's a lot of AI work that's coming in, and we're trying to make it in a fun way by having like a Missy Six versus just like a chat bot. How do you make it feel endemic to the brand?
That's great. Brian, what are you guys doing?
Oh, so much. So I'm going to start with machine learning. Machine learning shows up today in the feed. We've implemented some new things. Shout out to the engineering team. They don't get enough love. Like, they're phenomenal. But we are a technology data company first. And so when you look at your Strava feed, machine learning is already being optimized in that. It's feeding you the content that you want to see, that you engage with most, right? So that's one way. At Camp Strava, we have some pretty exciting announcements that we will be hitting on. Hey, Parody. Shout out. What we've learned is that people want a customized experience, right? So all I'm going to say is that using AI, we will start to curate what that experience looks like based on your previous activities and how you want information to come your way. So think of it as like a a coach, let's just say. But we are accelerating our shift to AI as a platform in 2024. So there is a separate roadmap that our engineering team is like expediting and testing and really engaging with. So you'll see that show up in the product here very soon. And so that's what I'll say before I say too much, but know that it is coming in 2024 very, very soon.
Great. Kevin?
So technology is interesting when it comes to disconnection, because people want to disconnect when they're on vacation. So we tread it very lightly. So on one hand, technology is used to really simplify the guest experience. So you have a bracelet when you check in, it opens your door, it opens your safe. If you're skiing, it opens your ski locker. So it's multi-use, you can pay for things on it. And then on the other end, when it comes to AI, we are investing in it. We actually have a team in our headquarters in Paris who are finding ways to leverage it. So on one hand, it's helping the marketing team. So when you have 70 resorts around the world, imagine the pictures that you have in the galleries. So on one hand, it's helping us sort through images so we can use keywords to access images that we want, right? So it's simple, few things, I can get exactly what I want. On the other end of it, they're actually teaching AI about the product, because the idea is that they're gonna give it to our sales teams, so the sales teams can use it as a product to quickly answer guests' questions. So if they don't know it, they can just ask it in the system, the AI will give them the response. And then at some point it turns around and becomes more client-facing. So we're in the first phase of having being a tool for our sales teams, but eventually it'll be a tool to navigate our website to really get the answers to your questions.
Awesome. Chelsea?
Yeah, so we use AI just a little bit when it comes to, maybe helping with social media captions or graphic design inspo and things like that. I think it would be really interesting to use technology and AI to have a better shopping experience for consumers, offering them education and a discount right when they come into store, right when they're at that point of conversion. So I think I'm really interested in technology that allows people to have a better omni-channel experience with the brand. So open to any recommendations if you all are aware of some solutions there.
Great. How are we doing on time? Couple questions from the crowd here? Solomon. We colluded last night.
Two-part question. Probably first word from Ryan at Strava user on the mountains. Great comment for you guys. Being from resorts to Las Vegas and obviously focused on F1 in November, how do you see Vegas being a walking race, the growth opportunity of fitness and Strava collaborating with that race specifically? One of our partners, their body says the workout of Vegas is its own workout, its own, whether it's conventions or festivals, etc. So understanding that growth opportunity for you guys and for Chelsea, for Stephanie and Kevin, being in the hospitality space, how do you show that balance between monetizing your own assets of impressions, whether it's on the golf cart or on the ski lift, or activating at your team card, while also growing your marketing objectives internally as well through your partnerships?
All right, so jumping in, I love Vegas. Just FYI, there's so many local legacy segments on the strip alone that people try to conquer. And the way we look at it is that when we look at events specifically, we have a whole events team that reaches out. It works with marathon majors to embed routes, right? So the embed for us is a very, very big thing. Because when we think about that, it actually tracks and shows exactly the routes that you can take. And working with events and organizers, it all maps back to that. Like, how do we work together to figure out what is the best approach to include the masses, to include those local legends, those segments? How do you build on something, the workout of Vegas, right? There's actually a segment that is called the workout of Vegas, where it goes like over the bridge and like connects and makes a loop. Who can walk it the fastest, right? And so how do we play that up in social? How do we continue to engage that audience? But there is a partnerships team that does go after those types of events and think strategically about how we can engage.
All right. So from a partnership perspective, we can extend it outside of the park. So we'll do, we were on cans of Coke for eternity, 1 billion cans of Coke. We do on-pack, we can do some retail programs. So we take that brand outside, so it's not just in the theme park. Some of the advertising, some of the social media that is through our partnerships, so it extends it and gets people really excited, but then we tap into their audience, right? So I'll use Frito-Lay as an example. They're one of our partners. We're gonna do an on-pack in the next couple of months. So It'll be in certain retailers that maybe we're not talking to, a new audience that will be excited to then come to Six Flags. So we use it to leverage as well. We know who we're talking to through our advertising channels, and it's really interesting to look at how do you extend that reach through other partnerships as well.
And that's a lot. Sorry.
No, I should say, or even like test out new segments that you're like, I don't know, could this be a new area, and you can see if it performs well or not.
Which is a lot of what we do too, because like we also look at other people, other partners to test and see how we can leverage their audience to help extend our conversation and to help get them within our ecosystem as well, because it's the idea of like-minded people. So there's our network, but we do have to go outside in order to recruit and to broaden our voice.
Anything else?
Stand up and come over. Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing your time with us this morning. So I'm very happy to be here. Jackie Daniel from Office Depot. I wanted to ask about how you feel about your brand partnerships in terms of budget, right? And especially for a smaller brand. What are like the key things you're looking at to make sure you get the most impact out of a partnership? And then secondly, what happens after? Like, what's the strategic plan for keeping the momentum going, especially with something like a Barbie or working with big influencers?
Yeah, I think as a small brand, yes, we do have smaller budgets, so we have to really lean in on the value that we're bringing to our partners, so that we're not investing so much on the dollar side of things, but maybe it feeling like a true partnership in terms of shared marketing spend. And then of course we are bringing the value to our partners by being on Hack and providing the presence in store. And so in addition to just giving our partners that tiny billboard on all of the shelves in our stores, we can also provide them added value in terms of different off-shelf placements and things like that. So that has allowed us to luckily not have to invest so much on the front end. So giving the additional exposure to a brand like Barbie, who's not ever going to be seen in the beverage aisle otherwise, or a brand like Chamberlain Coffee that was primarily just a direct-to-consumer brand, and we allowed them to get some exposure on shelf. So finding those strategic partnerships where you can have that value that you're providing them, where they're going to provide a lot on the side of awareness and brand caching.
Great. Maybe one or two more. So this time we'll get to you next. Go ahead.
A question for you, Stephanie. Grand Prix are looking more and more like amusement parks, especially like certainly the American Austin, where they've got a huge amount of real estate where they can install rides and different kinds of experiences around a race. I don't know if you've ever been to certainly the Americans or been to the Grand Prix, but do you have any thoughts for what you've seen or maybe read in industry magazines around what Formula 1 in particular is doing right or can do differently? Or maybe even more broadly, what motorsport is doing that has room for growth or maybe even interest someone like Six Flags within the cultural world?
Fast cars and fast coasters, so we're right there. So I'm actually originally from Montreal, and I went for the first time last year. It was incredible. I had the best experience. And I've been really fortunate to go to a lot of sporting events, a lot of entertainment, and the team I was with just did an amazing job. And so from a hospitality perspective, I'll just kind of start there. I thought what you can get at an F1 event was top, right? Like, not just because I was drinking champagne maybe 3 days straight, which I enjoy. But the access that you can get, so we had some of the drivers come into the suite I was in, ask them questions. I think that what I'm going to call like customization within hospitality, to me really stood out. And I think, and I worked in tennis before, so I've been with those athletes as well. And while we don't really have that per se at the theme parks, people are interested in learning from engineers and different pieces. So what I was really impressed is how you can get up and close, how you can use hospitality, which in that earlier panel as well was a big key of the sponsorship. I think from what I experienced, did a phenomenal job. I got to go on the track. When you can create those really unique experiences, just like I would say at Six Flags, when you can go and learn, some people want to learn about coasters, if you can be the first to ride on this $20 million coaster, I think there is a lot of synergy. So how do you take people, consumers, where they have passions. People have passions for the cars, people have passions for coasters. How do you make something really, really unique that their mind is totally blown away? But yes, coasters, cars. We have some coasters, they race each other. So I think there could be some fun things down the road. We always want to like highlight, you know, we don't have most markets any, actually Montreal we do, but where we have coasters and parks. So there could definitely be some things. I mean, it's synergies, right? It's speed, it's passion, it's super, super loyal fans. So I like the idea.
Awesome. I think we have to wrap up. We're going to be out in the hall in a couple minutes. Round of applause for our students.